Hello, I'm Ashwini J, an HR business partner based in Bengaluru. I'm stoked to announce the launch of my inaugural Pod Talk 2025 and kick off this brand new journey with you. And what better way to begin than diving into a question that challenges how we think about work, leadership, and culture? What if the key to retaining your top best talents isn't about perks or benefits, but something as invisible as psychological safety? So today, my first episode of Potok Show, exploring what psychological safety really means, how it looks like, the factors that hinders, and the benefits of developing a culture of psychological safety, and why is it becoming so non-negotiable in high-performing teams, and how leaders at every level can create an environment where they feel safe to raise their opinions, concerns, and take risk and just to be themselves. So if you're an HR professional, manager, leader, or if you're someone who passionate about to create such healthier workplace, this conversation is for you. So let's get started. Join us as we dive into this real world examples, stories, and expert insights and actionable strategies that helps to create and foster a culture where trust and open communication thrive. Introducing our guest for today Potak show, Mr. M.A. Mukund, who is a seasoned HR leader with over 3 decades of experience across industries such as life sciences, pharma, diagnostics, and biotech. He played a key roles in HR, talent management and development, strategic HR initiatives, and organization transformations in renowned companies like AstraZeneca, Dr. Reddy's, Strides Arcolab, Quintiles, and Syngene. He is also the author of the book titled The Late Realizations of the Obvious, and this book distills over 14 years of his personal and professional experience into insightful and humorous reflection as well. Today, he mentors and coaches budding HR leaders. So let's welcome him on my podcast show. Hello, Mr. Mukund.
Hi, Ashwini. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm delighted to be here uh, with you today on this podcast.
Honestly, I'm so grateful having you here on my first episode, Mr. Mukund. Thank you so much. Uh, as we know, today our talk is about psychological safety, and I would like to start with the conversation that, in your opinion, what exactly psychological safety really means in the organizational context, Mr. Mukund?
So, to start off, uh, uh, psychological safety is a very invisible concept, as you mentioned, and it's a very subtle idea. Uh, it is a foundation for healthy workplaces today. And it's so important in the context of innovation and resilience in organizations today. Uh, High performing organizations thrive in a culture of psychological safety. The idea is very simple and it applies mainly to junior and frontline employees who are perceived to have less power, especially those not in decision making roles. Psychological safety, simply put, is a feeling, is a
Right.
culture where people feel safe and comfortable expressing themselves openly, fearlessly, and without any fear of reprisals or criticisms or reprimands by their bosses or their seniors. In simple terms, it is just that. Uh, Google, in fact, had a project called Project Aristotle, where they found that psychological safety plays a very important role in building high performance teams. So psychological safety is a concept where people can express themselves freely, challenge their peers and their superiors, uh, have constructive disagreements, and express their views without any hesitation or fear. That's about psychological safety as an introduction, Ashwini, in my view.
That's amazing, Mr. Mukund. Thank you so much. I have on the following question that is trust and the open communication a factor uh, to develop a psychological safety or vice versa? Uh, can you explain a bit on that?
Okay, this is a very interesting question, and it's actually a chicken and egg situation. Psychological safety is required
Mm.
to build trust, and trust in turn reinforces psychological safety. It's a cyclical framework and a cyclical process. Trust is the lubricant or the basis for all human interactions, and it's up to the leadership and leaders at all levels to create that culture and create that environment where people feel safe to speak up, and people feel, that they can openly say things and voice their opinions, even on sensitive matters or sacred subjects, without uh, ruffling any feathers or without being blamed or pulled up or reprimanded. So trust that builds trust. They start trusting their managers and leaders more, and in turn psychological safety gets built up. So trust and psychological safety is a cyclical, mutually reinforcing framework.
That's awesome. Can you explain, or maybe if you can help me with one or two real scenarios, examples to illustrate what psychological safety looks like in real terms today, Mr. Mukund? Maybe with one or two examples.
Okay, let me share two examples with you, hypothetical, of course. Let me start with one positive example and then go into one negative situation. A positive example of psychological safety would be, let's say there is a leader, senior leader, who calls in his team to discuss some project or project proposal,
Right.
and where he says, okay, team, guys, let's get together and brainstorm on this proposal and strategy. I would like everybody to share their views openly, share all your perspectives and thoughts without any fear, without any hesitation, so that we have all the ideas on the table. No idea is small or stupid. Nothing is going to be judged, and you're not going to be assessed. It's not an assessment. Everybody is free to speak up and share their thoughts comfortably and without any fear. Uh, please don't feel scared, and let's have all the ideas on the table. When he or she says that, he or she is setting the tone for the meeting where people feel encouraged to speak up without any hesitation, and they feel comfortable, they feel included, and they are enthusiastic to contribute their ideas. So that is an example where psychological safety is being created uh, in that meeting. And if that culture is perpetuated, one can sort of share it as a practice across organizations, and it becomes embedded into the culture of
Right,
the
right,
organization.
right.
So that is a positive example.
Mm.
Now let's take the negative example where psychological safety gets diminished or destroyed. How that happens?
Mm.
Let's say in another meeting there is a senior leader who's presenting some financials. He's making some projections, and
Right.
in that room
Mm.
there are other senior leaders also participating in that meeting. There
Mm.
is also one junior business analyst in that meeting who
Mm.
is looking closely at the data.
Mm.
So let's say the senior leader is showing some charts and graphs and projecting into the future, and making a statement like, okay, I think in the next quarter, let's look at this projection of $15 million based on this data, as $15 million of revenue
Mm.
based on this data. Now, the junior analyst looks at the slide closely and says, excuse me, sir, I think there is an error here. Uh, I think we should scale down our revenue projections to $5 or $7 million at the max, because I see that these trends are a little misleading when I look at our past data and past track records. So I think we should pause a bit here and relook at all the numbers once again before coming to a conclusion. When he says that, the leader gets angry, gets irritated, and then snaps back at this junior analyst saying, "Oh, this data has come from our top-notch consultants. I think you're just nitpicking here. You should go back and do your homework. Don't interrupt this meeting like this. This is important, and we have to make decisions here, and we are running out of time. I think you should go back and do your homework." And everybody in this room here is on board with these numbers, and they know this consultant too. They have worked with him in the past, and this consultant has been with us for the last several years, and his data is uh, above board. I don't think you should be here questioning these numbers now. Please go back and do your homework and don't nitpick. So if the leader makes a statements like this, and snaps back and shouts back at the analyst, what is the analyst going to feel? He's going to feel intimidated. He's going to feel diminished. He
Right.
feels insulted, and then he'll retreat into a shell. Now, let's say that the company goes forward with these projections that the senior leader has shown, and then based on these assumptions and numbers, in the next quarter, the company gets into trouble, and flawed financial projections lead to flawed decisions, leading to flawed outcomes.
Mm.
Uh, in the meanwhile, what has happened is that the analyst who has felt insulted puts down his papers and leaves the company. Now, whose loss is it? It's the company's loss. First of all, the company has got into a mess in terms of its finances. Second is they have lost an intelligent and brilliant analyst who pointed out the error. Uh, so, uh, as a result, the whole company is in trouble now. Why did this happen? Because there was no culture of psychological safety established. There's no the employee was pulled up
Right.
because he voiced his concerns.
Yes.
Now, and even if he had been there and if he was called to the next meeting, he wouldn't probably attend, or even if
Correct.
he did attend, he would keep completely silent.
Correct.
So that's another example. That's a negative example of psychological safety gone for a toss. I hope that explains it, Ashwini.
Oh, I really like the way that you have come up with examples and the way you have put it across, Mr. Mukund. I thank you so much on that. Maybe if you like to bit more describe on some of the factors that inhibit or hinders the psychological safety in an organization.
Okay. So this negative example would have probably illustrated some of the factors that
Yes.
hinder psychological safety. One is, of course, the authoritarian and directive leadership resulting from tall hierarchical structures where
Right.
power and control are the dynamic driving forces in
Yes.
such cultures. Obviously, people will feel scared to speak up when seniors are around. They feel intimidated.
Yes.
So the more there is power distance between an employee and his manager, or his or her manager, or his or her senior leaders, the psychological safety will get reduced. That is one. Second is a culture of blame. If people keep blaming each other and finger pointing at each other in organizations, uh, then psychological safety is going to go for a toss again, because people will feel scared to voice their opinions and they will hide mistakes. And that is really detrimental to learning in organizations. So mistakes are sort of substrates for learning. And if people hide mistakes uh, because of fear, then they don't feel safe enough to voice their opinions and voice and bring forward the data and admit their errors. Uh, Things are going to go downhill, and psychological safety goes for a toss. The third factor that reduces or compresses or diminishes psychological safety is inconsistent leadership behavior. Leadership behaviors at the micro level are particularly important in fostering a culture of psychological safety. If what leaders think, what they say, and what they do, even in micro terms, are important in developing this culture. if they say something and do exactly the opposite or do something else that is not in alignment with what they speak or
Right.
what they sort of propose
Yes.
or what they think they are standing for, then obviously there is going to be dissonance and misalignment. People are not going to trust their leaders, and psychological safety will go for a toss as people will not open up in front of their leaders. The last, but by no means least, factor is one of competition within teams. When there's intense competition within teams, people will again hide information. They will not speak up. They'll not share their suggestions or ideas because they'll feel that somebody else will steal their credit. So that is something that can inhibit psychological safety as well. And there will be fear as well. Speaking up, as I said, mentioned earlier, speaking up against their bosses or against or voicing concerns to their managers. So all these factors inhibit psychological safety.
Thank you so much. I think I'm definitely in alignment with all of your points because I hear too a lot of stories in that. So I thank you so much on that, Mr. Mukund. One more point which is striking me is that can you also help me with benefits pointers, to develop a culture of the psychological safety? How psychological safety develop a positive culture and what are the benefits of it?
So psychological safety is not a trendy buzzword in organizations
Yeah.
anymore. We should not look at it as a buzzword. It is something that gives a company competitive advantage. And it's a business imperative today.
Right.
Uh, Psychological safety can lead to higher creativity, and
Mhm.
creativity in turns fuels innovation. And innovation, as you know, is a strategic lever today for any organization in the marketplace that
Mhm.
wants to win
Right.
in the marketplace. There is the second is that there is improved employee engagement and retention. People will feel more committed, more involved. They'll feel a sense of belonging
Right.
with the organization, and they will not leave the organization in a hurry. They'll
Correct.
tend to stick on there,
Yes.
even if another company offers
Mhm.
lucrative benefits or higher compensation. They may think twice before jumping ship because they are emotionally bonded to this organization where they feel safe and comfortable expressing their thoughts. They would have built a rapport with their managers and with their peers and with their colleagues, so they feel comfortable expressing and sharing their thoughts. So why would they want to jump ship just for a few dollars more? And the third advantage or benefit for organizations is that there is increased team collaboration and team performance. People will support each other, reinforce each other, and stand up for each other. There's improved collaboration and cooperation. They will generate more value, uh, uh, business value for the organization because of psychological safety as a foundation. The fourth is that there's increased learning and there's increased adaptability.
Right.
People will learn from mistakes, they will debate, discuss, and they will have constructive disagreements which can be voiced without any reprimands or without blaming or without serious conflict. There can be healthy debates. Uh, so there's increased learning and diversity of perspectives which can be brought to the table, which can result in more, which can result in innovations. There's better decision making, uh, enhanced and superior decisions because of multiple perspectives. Again, everything being examined, on its merits and a proper, rational, logical conclusion being arrived at. So, in a sense, psychological safety has all these benefits which can be a game changer for organizations. It's not just a trendy buzzword anymore. And HR leaders have and HR professionals in organizations have this responsibility to champion this concept and nurture it in organizations where employees feel safe, secure, and courageous to express themselves, express their ideas, thoughts, and feelings without the fear of being blamed or without fear of retribution or insult or reprisals or criticisms. So that, in essence, I think uh, is psychological safety in a nutshell for you, Ashwini.
That's fantastic answer, Mr. Mukund. Thank you so much. I cannot agree more on this. So, with that, I would like to say I think psychological safety isn't just comfort, but it's foundation for trust, innovation, creativity, and high performance and everything. So, when they feel to safe to speak up, that's when organizations will unblock their full potential. So, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation on psychological safety in the workplace. And thank you all for watching my podcast show. If you liked my episode, please click on below subscribe button and stay tuned for my next episode. Thank you so much.